blockchain n'est pas seulement pour la minorité, c'est pour tous les gens. Alors, we are now going to hear from Rob Charles, who is the CEO of Goldfingr, who is going to be talking about how we promote mass adoption of blockchain here at Africa Blockchain Week.
Hi, my name is Rob Charles. I'm founder and CEO of Goldfingr and also the chairman and founder of Greenfingr. So Goldfingr, we are the first virtual global investment club founded in New York City in 2014. We have over 100,000 investors in our network. Traditional, and when I talk about investing, I'm talking about traditional investing, private equity with angels, VCs, funds, family offices, and sovereign wealth funds. We're also the very first conscious network with 11 principles integrated into our platform and to our global community. First off, it's an honor, and I want to thank Juan Lee and NextChange for having me talk today and talk about taking crypto to mass adoption. So let me start a little bit about my background. I've been an entrepreneur for about 30 years. A tech entrepreneur for 25 years. My first tech startup was in 1996, the first online art gallery called universalarts.com. I've been an angel investor for about 18 years and 2 times professional athlete in 2 different sports, and had a foundation for children for a number of years as well. And first I would like to talk a little bit about the tech bubble and different cycles, and basically what the different cycles that continue repeating through time. The first was the tech bubble, one of the first crashes that I was in. Like I mentioned, I was had my first tech startup in 1996, and then the .com crash happened in 2000. Now, one of the reasons, and this happened, was because you had overinflated valuations of companies that had zero revenue, no real business model whatsoever. This is very similar to the phenomenon that happened with the ICO boom and crash with cryptocurrencies. Basically, once Bitcoin went up, then everyone and their dog decided to tokenize and start a company and raise capital. Well, it worked for some period of time, but there was actually most of these businesses did not have any real business models behind them. It's very similar to what happened 20 years ago with the first tech bubble. So, during this process of this is really how new industries and markets work. Of course, in markets things go up and things go down, of course. But with the ICO boom of cryptocurrency, things started happening very fast, and what I would like to call like millennial VCs. Everyone made some money, maybe they 10x, maybe they 100x their Bitcoin, and now they start deploying capital into new projects. Well, when this starts happening, a lot of the due diligence that has gone on before did not really occur, because people could easily just put some Bitcoin into a project without any really viable business models. So one of my points is in order for really for crypto to take mass adoption, as entrepreneurs, and I've been both an entrepreneur and investor for some time, as founders and entrepreneurs, we have to create real businesses that scale, and not just ideas and taking in a lot of capital and not being able to execute and develop these systems, which is what happened with, a lot of people took in a lot of money. Some of these systems were never developed. There was a lot of scammers that ran off with a lot of people's money. And it really puts in regards to the whole blockchain and crypto movement, puts a lot of stress into the mainstream, because investors and the normal person, the average person, thinks that cryptocurrency, and a lot of people think that cryptocurrency or a blockchain is, let's say, a fad, or or there's too many scams in the market and so forth. Now, now there's a lot of amazing innovation that's going on in the world right now, and I'm very honored and pleased to be part of this and as a pioneer in the space. But let's talk a little bit about the life cycle of mass adoption. So the life cycle of mass adoption, I can remember in 1996 when there was a big debate of whether the internet is a fad or not, whether it was just a something that's going to come and go and will not have any longevity. And there was a big debate back then of whether people would even ever invest, would even buy anything on the internet. It was, whether clothes would buy or people would sell clothes or products, and if anyone would buy it. You got to remember at that time there was no payment processing on the internet at that time, which most of our viewers were probably children or young when this happened, when this phenomenon happened. Well, it's very similar to, as we all know, if you're attending Africa Blockchain Week, that the blockchain and crypto is not going anywhere. It's here to stay. This is even more so with right now what's going on with the global pandemic, as well as the global economic crisis that we're in currently, but it's only, in my humble opinion, is only going to get worse. Gold for centuries has always been a hedge against devaluation of the dollar, as well as, and this is what Bitcoin was spawned out of, was born out of the subprime crisis during 2009 and 10, when the whole economic meltdown was occurring because of the real estate crisis in the United States. Well, now we've seen this has happened globally in every country and every city in the world. We've had one, if not multiple, quarantines and lockdowns, and the U.S. dollar has devalued. Over 26% of the U.S. dollar supply has been printed ever. The complete U.S. dollar supply just in the last year alone. So over time, we've seen an insurgence in the price of Bitcoin, although it's dipped down for some time now. It's debatable when it's going to bounce back, but we all know it will bounce back. So really, it's we talk about the life cycle of mass adoption. You also always have the innovators, which the innovators are the people who have really developed the first cryptocurrencies, the first startups on the blockchain. These were, happened right before, have been happening since before the ICO boom. Then you have the early adopters, which is now coming on. We're getting more people that are adopting cryptocurrency that are now coming on board, especially during the pandemic. And this is where we're at in the stage of is the early adoption process. And then after the early adoption, we have early adopters, we have the early majority, the late majority, and the laggards. So what we're currently at is what we call the chasm. The chasm now is this leap from the early adopters into the early majority. Now, this is a critical point for cryptocurrency and blockchain, because now the chasm separates the early adopters from the early majority, because the demands of these two groups are often vastly different. So when I talk to a lot of, brilliant millennials who have come up with, all of the innovations, whether it be a protocol or whether it be a new cryptocurrency or even DeFi, right? What a lot of people don't understand is over 95% of the planet does not understand cryptocurrency and does not understand blockchain. They just don't understand it. So what I'm saying is you have these small ecosystems. It's the same thing with any new product or movement. For example, hemp and cannabis. you have, your hemp and cannabis groups of people, which are expanding, but it's not necessarily hit mass adoption yet, or which hemp, as we all know, can help. It's the most durable substance on the planet and can help all the GDPs of, the economies throughout the world. But yet we're still at this chasm point. Same thing with cryptocurrency and blockchain, and people are innovating and they're doing all this, these amazing DeFi type products, but people do, the normal person, and especially most importantly the average investor, they do not understand it. Well, it's very simple. Investors do not, and I'm talking about traditional investors, private equity investors have been going on, which is where the majority of the capital is on the planet, which is institutions, right? We got to get the institutions to buy in. We have angels investors, we have VCs, we have funds, we have family offices and sovereign wealth funds. So this is where the majority of the capital on the planet is. So in order for us to get mass adoption and for us to scale, we have to package everything up where it's presentable for these institutional and funds and VCs and family offices to actually feel comfortable to come into and deploy their capital into these amazing projects. Well, when people don't understand these projects, now a lot of people on the call today are viewing this might understand, some maybe don't, but we have to create systems that where people can actually understand and get their head around this before they deploy capital. So how do we do that? Well, we have to understand it as well. Some of the different generations that are out there. For example, I'm Gen X. My generation is between earlier, before the baby boomers, right? And was more forward thinking. This is when the first mobile phones came out, when the internet came out, right? We're open-minded, we innovate, so forth, and so even with me, for example, there's a lot of stuff that I don't understand because the technology is moving so quickly. Well, so here's the stats right now. Millennials, 49% of millennials own cryptocurrency. Gen X, which is my generation, 38% own cryptocurrency. And so, and the millennials, that's with the millennials is now 24% of the global population, which is now going to be the next largest population since the baby boomers, which happened during the Vietnam War, during that time period. So if you take the Gen X, which is 19.5% of the population, right, with the 24% of the global population, and based in pro rata of the percentages of those that own crypto, there's only total 19% of the population of Gen X and millennials that have something to do with cryptocurrency. So the solution is, yeah, we need to keep expanding these Gen X users as well as millennial users. But at the same time, we have to target other users and other categories, for example, baby boomers, right? In order for us to get critical mass, to get mass adoption. So we reach the tipping point where cryptocurrency is common, where everyone knows, understands how to use it. And this is what, basically, if anyone's raising capital for their project involving cryptocurrency, or they want to use it, they want liquidity, we have to have this mass adoption for everything to work long term. And we're on the right track. We're just at the chasm stage. So I propose that our solution, right, is to get other generations to adopt cryptocurrency. Well, how do we do this? So majority of DeFi platforms, for example, that I've seen, a lot of, and like I said, we have over 100,000 investors in our network, including myself. And majority of our type of users, and I'm talking about traditional institutional and private equity investors, will not go on certain type of DeFi platforms, or platforms that they don't understand because they're too complex, they're too complicated, right? Now, let's just go out of cryptocurrency for a second. Let's just go to traditional technology, any app, right? Maybe let's just use, for example, Airbnb or Uber that everyone's familiar with. In order nowadays for anyone to use any type of tech system, there has to be behavioral change. That means there's thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of different apps that are out there, right? And if the user experience, I'm going to say this again, the user experience, the UX, is one of the most important things when it comes to anyone and the average person using a technology system. Yes, of course, a lot of people care about, in our field, in our circles, care about the integrity of their data, privacy, and so forth. Of course, investors need secure and private communications, but most importantly, it's got to be super, super, super simple for them to use it. But the user experience means that so I can come in and use this, understand what's going on, and within a couple of clicks, use a new system, use the platform, right? Now, this, I would say, is what is one of the primary things that is missing and lacking with majority of blockchain and crypto projects. The average person does not understand what a protocol is, for example, nor do they care. They just want to be able to go on and simply be able to use a system with a couple of clicks and wait, I'm rewarded with the token, right? Or I can use this token a certain way. And this is what we've basically done with Goldfingr. Goldfingr is the first virtual global investment club. We almost tokenized back in the ICO boom. I'm glad that we waited, but we had many of our members that tried to wanted us to get us to issue our crypto back then, go on the blockchain. But I'm very happy and elated to announce that we are now issued our mint token. That's M1NT. That's mint M1NT. And our website is goldfingr.net, goldfingr.net, where we're now taking cryptocurrency to mass adoption. And the way we're doing this is we've made it really accessible with our global community of investors and entrepreneurs to be able to come on, build their network, manage their system, buy issue cryptocurrency with a couple of clicks on our launch pad, and actually exit on our DeFi exchange, which this 3.0 system is coming out in just a few weeks. And so if anyone would like to discuss further, you can reach my team at info@goldfingr.net, or you can go on our website at goldfingr.net as well. Happy to consult and help with any type of projects that we can empower to take crypto mass adoption together. Thank you so much for your time.